We just went up and had Santa photos for the dogs with Santa. We've done that most years. And they got so excited that they were having their harnesses on that I need to take them out for a walk. I haven't taken the boys for a proper walk in I don't know how long. A combination of me doing all the work around the house and working right into dark, and my back and legs not really being up for long walks, that I just haven't taken them, and that's really poor on my part. My wife suggested, especially with little Lucky getting so old and me getting old and broken, that there's an area that I usually used to always take the boys for a walk, which is nice, long and flat. She says, why don't you just put them in the car, drive them out to that flat spot, park the car, and then take them for a bit of a walk? Because everywhere around our house is hills. Hurts me just walking up the driveway. So I'm taking them out to a spot where I used to walk them, but we would walk all the way out here. It's flat and borders onto the national park, but it's a really nice long flat area. I'll be able to come out here, park and take them for a walk and get that bit of exercise that we all need so much. This looks good. Ready to go walk? Let's get into this. Busy day adminning, getting a lot of the stuff done around the school. This room still got me right into trying to get stuff tidied up. Removed a cable that we had hanging over there for power, and got it down running along the wall basically so that it can provide power to this table. Moved the MakerBot from the room that it was in over to here, and it's already been in use all day, so I can see that it's much better to have it over here. The noise it makes constantly. He's going to probably drive some of us nuts. We'll have the radio on a lot more often. I did have one teacher who had come in here to do a casual class, and she thought she'd sit in here and she said, "That's driving me nuts," and got up and went. This cabinet's moving upstairs, so that'll free up that space a little bit more, then we can organise that. I got some stuff chucked out of the storeroom. There was some old boxes and the packing foam that goes around things. Time to head off. Turns out the kids have started hiding in here because of this broken lock. So I'm going to get on and try and get this repaired during this period while there's nobody around. So thankfully, after denailing, I can still use all this trim. This one here, I'm going to strip down and just spin it around. And the main door jamb, I'm just going to unscrew it, and I should be able to, because that's centered, where the screws are, I should be able to just flip this around and I'll have this cracked part on this inside edge. Just finished the end of the school day in here with construction, just working on their sawhorses again. Again, because they're the only class I've got right at the moment, we're just leaving some of the jobs out so they can just come straight back in and work on them. Some are stored away. Weren't many kids here today because of a maths enrichment day and swim school, where some of the kids actually do sports coaching, and they help out as coaches at the swim school for year 7. So smaller group, just working in here. I only had 4 in the room today out of 16. As for the dumping ground, there's the couches from the staff room. They've just announced they're going to get a skip bin for the school. Sit it out in the car park, staff rooms just fill it up. Once it's full, they come take it away, they'll get another one in, and the boss just said, we'll just get as many skip bins as possible until everybody gets rid of their junk. Our faculty has a lot of junk. But apparently, we're not the only one. I thought we were probably one of the worst, but our staff room apparently, or our storerooms, we do have a lot of stuff that, it's like we've hung on to. I said when we were cleaning out the staff room, there was stuff that hadn't been touched in years. They can go. Resources is a different thing, especially with timber and metal and that sort of stuff. Time to get a little bit more selective with it, throwing out the smaller pieces that we really won't use. And I've just done that. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 bins in here. Big one here, this green one, another one that size, steel one down the end. They were all full, and I emptied those out. I walked them down to the big bins, emptied those out, came back, and then I think I filled up one of the green ones again, emptied that out. So there's been a bit of stuff chucked out, and there's just the small pieces that you can't use anymore. I wouldn't get rid of that stuff, it's usable. But yeah, all the little tiny pieces, it's just time to chuck them. Even for lathe work. I'm not going to get on the lathe often enough, and the kids, I don't want them doing lots and lots of little tiny glue-ups that could blow up on them. End of the day, time to head back to the staff room, do a bit of work, and pack up and go. Ended up getting this done, so this is all back in place, and I've reinforced the door jamb with some sheet steel bent at an angle, screwed into right into the frame. So if the door gets kicked now, that's probably the spot that's going to break instead, because that's in tight and that's all nice and solid. Took a little bit of time, took about an hour and a bit. Certainly got to hope that all that stuff you can see behind me, where you're starting to lose sight of everything. I'm hoping that's dust and not smoke. When I got to school this morning, was thick like this, but the whole place stunk of smoke from those fires. But the way this is sort of blowing up, kind of got the feeling that this is a dust storm. I hope it's a dust storm. Judging by the wind and the lack of visibility, I'd say what we just saw is a dust storm that's been whipped up from somewhere. I mean, the country's in drought, so when you get winds this strong, it just blows the dust from inner New South Wales and southwest New South Wales. It just blows it straight across the city, and it probably doesn't even have to come from that far away. As dry as it is everywhere, you could probably get a decent dust storm whipped up with just the areas around Sydney suburbs right now. But there was a dust storm last week during the fires, and it just did lay a really fine layer of orange dust over everything, even right up at our house in the mountains. The top of the sheds has this very fine dust on it, which then ended up running off the edge with the next lot of rain that we got. But this one, I guess because I'm seeing it from down here, you can't see the mountains. On a normal afternoon, you can see all the way through to the mountains. So I'm going to assume that when I get up into the mountains, if you look back, most of Sydney's just going to look like a dust storm. A dust cloud. When I looked out the window this morning, I wasn't sure if that was mist in the gully behind us or not. When I stepped outside, it's smoke. It's smoking again, coming up through the gully, and I know that there's a fire that started that way yesterday. 24 k's as the crow flies. Looked like it was in the middle of nowhere. When I zoomed in on the map, it's on a fire trail, so it was deliberately lit. 126 fires burn in New South Wales. These are the fires in New South Wales right now. And some of those are probably in southern Queensland. I'm going to zoom in towards Sydney. Here's Sydney. This is the area that a fire has burnt out. This was the one that created so much of the smoke in Sydney over the last few weeks. That's where I am in the mountains. I'm down here at work now. These fires are brand new. This one started up, I got the warning of it yesterday while I was driving. It's in the middle of nowhere. So are these. Some of these could have been lightning strike ones. Here's Sydney's water supply. Warragamba Dam, Lake Burragarang. So there's the dam. But I decided to zoom in on this one. I'm going, I think that's a lightning strike. And then you come right in on it. It's on a fire trail. So some bugger's gone in there and lit that, because it's right on the edge of the fire trail. There's no way that would have started right next to a fire trail from a lightning strike. And we heard on the news yesterday that a volunteer firefighter has been arrested and charged with lighting multiple fires, that he's been also part of the team that goes and fights. Some ratbag has been going out there lighting fires so that he can be part of the team that goes and fights the fire, and then get the praise for being such a hero for fighting the fires. And that's just the lowest piece of dirt ever. And I'm being very polite. Anyway, I've arrived at work. I've got to go inside. Just finished with my year 8s for the day. For some reason, the magnet bender is not working. I've turned on all the power, because we've got those keyed power locks everywhere. I turned them all on, still nothing. Went and checked the fuses down the end of the block. They all seem to be working. But magnet bender's not working. I haven't checked the fuse, like flicked the circuit breaker on this. No. Bit of investigating to do on that. Ended up using the handbrake instead, doing all the safety edge folds here, and then I had this one set up for folding the box up at the last one. So that worked for the kids who'd marked it out right and got those first folds right because it was a really snug fit. And then they were allowed to do a spray finish or spray cans with a year 8 class like this that are very hyper. That's one way of putting it. That's a fun experience. But a couple of them did get the work done. They did listen a little bit about the idea of only spraying fairly lightly. So we've got a couple of the boxes here. This is actually my box, but one of the kids wanted to spray it. This one you can see where they've done just a little bit too thick, but the actual effect on the inside is looking pretty good. Another one black with a little bit on top. So is that, and the first student who started with this little orange one over in the corner. And as per usual, you always tell the kids to be careful and watch out when working with sheet steel. And who's the person who cuts himself? I'm the one who cuts myself on their jobs. Nice big slice straight up the finger. With the boxes nearing completion for most of the class, there's a few that still need to catch up a little bit. We then will be moving on to a little candelabra. So this was the one that one of my staff did last term, which she found was fairly successful. I'm a bit of a fan of this design with a single candle space down there that can be hung, placed on a wall or something like that. So that's the design I'm going to be working with the kids. Again, this is a group of students who need a lot of guidance and a lot of one-on-one assistance, and taken step by step through. I find that when they go through step by step, they can be really good and they work really well together. Not as capable with open-ended instructions, but I just went through the fruit shop just to grab some lettuce and tomato, really quick run through. I get to the register and it's $5 minimum on FPOS, and it rings up at $4.96 and gets rounded down to $4.95. I'm glad I had a $5 note in my wallet. Started filling up the trailer with a lot of the metal scrap that was out here. That's cleared up that space a fair bit. Also been extracting the aluminium and stuff out of it. A couple of old ceiling fans that had this dirty cast aluminium as the casings. That's all the bolts and stuff, and then the copper actuator, so there'll be a bit more money in that stuff, and then that stuff's just steel to go with all of that. And to say that I am hot is an understatement. So it's Friday arvo. I didn't get anything more put into the trailer for scrap. At the end of the day, I managed to, I've sent off my Fools with Tools treasure trade. That's a relief. And then I've had to, this afternoon, get this trailer hooked back up, tie everything down so it doesn't fly out of the trailer. And I'm heading across to the scrapyard now. The last intake they take in the afternoon is 4:45, so they can close at 5. And it's about 4:30 now, so I've got time to get over there. It's an easy unload because there's not a lot in it this time, but it's fairly awkward stuff, like chairs and old computer hardware cabinets and stuff. It's not making much of an impact on the Suzuki, so I doubt there's a lot of weight in there, and I'm pretty sure that the price is probably still only 9 cents a kilo at this point. I doubt it's gone up. I just didn't want to leave the trailer at school all weekend because I might need it. You never know. But doesn't that suck? I had to have hit the worst traffic from the school to the scrapyard I think I've ever hit. That was ridiculous. And the reason I say it sucks and it's ridiculous is I got to the scrapyard, the boss waved me through the gate and said, "Can you squeeze past the truck?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I did that, squeezed in past the truck, got myself up on the weighbridge, another dude comes up and he goes, "You'll have to come back tomorrow. It's all shut." I went, "What?" "Boss just waved me through. Said, can you squeeze past the truck and go in?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, well, it's all closed up." And then as he started to walk over to get the boss, the big roller door on the office started closing down as well. And he said, "Oh, you'll have to reverse out." With a trailer. It was a tight squeeze just driving in there. I managed to get reversed back and around their bins and their trucks, and then get back out the gate. And I was about to ask what time they reopened tomorrow morning on Saturday, and before I could say anything, go out the gate, just goes, 6 o'clock tomorrow, mate. That sucks. Oh, anyway, off to Bunnings. Gonna get some of the self-leveling cement for that last bit of the stuff in the laundry, so I can try and do that tomorrow and Sunday. My ropes still look all good. I'll check them at Bunnings. I just pulled over, rearranged the trailer a little bit because I noticed some stuff sliding about, and being that I've now got to go this short bit of the freeway and all the way up the mountain, I did not want that anything coming loose out of it. It's much more secure, and I've got stuff up at the house that I've still got to get rid of. I'd been sort of getting it all together. I've got a lot of extruded and cast aluminium things, and I've got some steel, and I've got a lot of copper wire. Try and load it up as much as I can and make it a worthwhile trip, since I've got to drive all the way up to the house, trail a load of scrap. Oh well, I don't know. There's the Suzuki parked on the driveway. Trailer backed right down to the fence. Down in the garden all the way. About as far as I could get it down without going too close to my wife's car. And the intention was, I'll just fill it up and go down on the weekend. But my wife, being the voice of reason, her first thing was, "Have we got stuff to go in it from here?" And I said yes. Then she said, "Well, just fill it up, take it back to work on Monday and offload it then." And it kind of makes sense, rather than doing a 40-minute trip down, 40-minute trip back, wasting fuel tomorrow. Get some of the stuff we've got here sorted. I'll fill up the back of the car with some of the smaller stuff, all the copper and the aluminium that I've got here. Fill the trailer up with the steel. Might get that old trailer base cut up and jam that in here as well. They open at 6. I could probably do a trip down, like go first thing in the morning before work Monday and just get it all offloaded. Otherwise I'd have to wait till Tuesday afternoon, because I wouldn't make it after exec meeting on Monday. Glad my wife's here to make me think a little bit more.